Good morning. It's Monday the 17th, which makes it the first day of the Magical Readathon. I'll quickly go through my TBR, except I don't have the books with me except for the one I'm currently reading. So I'll just leave some pictures up here. But first off, I'm currently reading The Monster Barrier Cormorant, which covers the first challenge, which is currently reading. And I am 60 pages from the end, so this should be no problem to finish today. I was trying to finish it last night to start another thing as my currently reading, but it just did not get done. And then for the next challenge, I'm going through one that's gold details that helped Hagrid decorate the trees, I think. And for that, I'm going to be reading A Reaper at the Gates by Sabatia. I'm listening to this on audio currently, a third of the way through. So I'm just going to finish that for this challenge. And the cover of this has gold foiling. So then for the everyone come together at the Hog's Head for some old pixie wine, and which is a book you can read in one sitting. I'm going to read Assassination Classroom Volume 1, another manga. I've been reading a lot of manga lately. I'm working on a video for that. So I get through my manga. And so I'm going to read Assassination Classroom. Then I can't remember what the actual two challenges for the next one are. I'll get back to you on that later when I have my book with me. But I'm going to be reading Boneless Mercies by April Genevieve Tukolka. I'm really bad with European style last names. And then I'll also be, for the final challenge, other than the big, watch Harry Potter movie, I'll be reading, and these could be the other way around, I can't remember. I'm pretty sure Boneless Mercies is first though. And then I will be reading The Winterwood by, is it The Winterwood? Winterwood? No. The Hazelwood by Melissa Albert. So I'll also be reading that for the readathon, and those complete all the challenges. And then if I get through all that, I'll also read Undying by Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner, which is the sequel to Unearthed, and that just released, so I'm desperate to get that read. And I'll also try and read, if that miraculously also gets read, my next two priorities are Neverworld Wake by Marisha Pessel, and Shadow of the Fox by Julie Kakarot. So that's kind of where we're at. I have work off for quite a bit of this time, but I'll be at my parents' with Jessie, and that could mean I either read heaps or read nothing. So we'll see how we go. But all the books that are actually on my TBR are quite short. I'm already through them a lot of the way. So I'm hoping to actually get the challenge reads done pretty fast, before I go on Christmas break. So we'll see how we go. Oh, so that white balance is terrible. Oh, I haven't read much yet. It is home time. I'm about to head home. I did go to the secondhand bookstore today, but in a rare event, I didn't buy anything. I was going because they're closing down, so I had 70% off all cash sales, but I didn't find a single thing that I could justify buying to myself, so I didn't buy anything. I just looked around. And walked away again. And I went and got cash out and everything, so dedicated. And then I've listened to some of my audiobook. I walked to the bookstore and then back to work, and that was a bit of my audiobook. And I'm going to listen to it now on the drive home. And then I'm going to get stuck into finishing The Monster Barrier Cormorant because I'm so excited for the ending. I read 2 pages at work today, but that's hardly anything. And I'm very keen. So the piece of trash I am, I forgot to update you last night. I ended up finishing quite a few of my reads, but we ordered in, why is my head so uncomfortable? We ordered in takeaway for dinner, like had dinner delivered, ate. I was reading, and then we went out to the shops. And then I came home, and then Jesse was packing to go away. He's got an overnight trip for work, and so I was making sure that was all sorted. And then because I had to wake up early to take him to the airport, I had just like crashed into bed and forgot to update you. But what I did read yesterday was a large chunk of A Reaper at the Gates. I'm now like 70% through, I think, so I hopefully might finish that today, depending on what I have to do at work, because most of my audiobook listening happens at work if I'm doing a task that's a bit, like, doesn't take much brain power. So I might finish that today, maybe. And then I finished The Monster Barrack Cormorant, which is my first read. I can't remember whether I mentioned that with you. So that was my current read. I finished that, and it was so good. 5-star read. I think I gave the first one 5 stars as well, but I found it a little bit slower to trudge through, but all the twists and turns were amazing, whereas this one I just flew through. This series is super complex, but looks at a lot of issues of race and colonialism in a fantasy setting, and does a lot of work in the idea of like once you've gone in and taken over a place, you can't get it back to the way it was. It's always going to be influenced by the oppressing group. And it's very, very diverse, lots of different gender and sexual identities, even though it also looks at the active suppression of those. Like, they exist in the world and they're oppressed in the world, and it looks at the negative impacts of that. And very diverse races, very diverse cultures and religions. Obviously all in a fantasy setting, but it's beautiful. And this one really introduced the idea of like I know it's a common cultural, I think it was exaggerated in this, but a common cultural thing in like Buddhism and that kind of culture, where the group comes before the individual. I've studied it briefly in anthropology, but I'm not the most well versed on it. I just took a class, but that kind of like way of thinking and the cultural way of thinking, and it looked into that. There was a whole group of people with like this whole group of countries have this like the group before the self mentality, and how that plays out when dealing with oppressors who are individuals before the group. And yeah, it's fascinating, this political intrigue with also action, and the main character is a lesbian that's like trying to hide it but not trying to hide it for political gain, and she's working her way up the ranks of the oppressing group to try and bring them down from the inside, to try and restore her land, and everyone's there trying to make it clear to her that even if she gets rid of this oppressing force, that doesn't mean these lands can go back to what they were, because they were absolutely ruined in the force of being taken over. And she's dealing with some physical and mental injury, and it's just so good. She's awful and makes awful decisions. Like, she's a very unreliable narrator and a very grey human, but it's such an amazing book series, and already I can't wait for book 3. Like, oh, it's just so good. If you haven't read this series, so the first one's the Traitor Barrack Cormorant, which is super twisty, and then the second one's the Monster Barrack Cormorant, which is the one I just finished, and oh my god, they're so good. Amazing. And then I read Assassination Classroom Volume 1, which is a weird little manga, and I loved it. It kind of follows a classroom that gets taught by this weird tentacle alien thing. He says he's not an alien, I don't know what's happening. But he destroyed the moon, and he's going to destroy the earth in a year if they don't kill him before the end of the year. And so there's this kind of
tug of war between the teacher, who's a really good teacher, but also their whole goal for the year is to try and assassinate him. I don't know, it's freaking weird, but I loved it. So now I'm about to get ready for work. Obviously, I'm still in my pajamas. But today I'm going to be reading The Boneless Mercies by April Genevieve Tukolke. And probably finishing up Read the Gates if I can. So that's kind of my plan for today. So, today, I didn't get much physically read, but I did finish A Read the Gates by Sabat Tahir, which is for the challenge to help Hagrid put up the tree, which is read a book with a gold detail on the cover. Check, done. So now I just have 2 more challenges left. And so for one of those, I'm reading The Boneless Mercies by April Genevieve Tukolke. This is my current read. I'm only like 30 pages in. I'm going to read to the end of my chapter before I go to bed right now. And I wanted to get more of this read tonight, but I ended up just busy, just doing stuff. It just didn't happen. Had a good day, but it just didn't happen. I went out for beer cocktails with one of my friends, and then we went out, like, followed that up with dinner after, like, around the wrong way, but you know, whatever. And then I went home and I had to wrap some presents and clean and stuff. And then I ended up here at work and didn't get to read much here either because we were busy. So I'm gonna read, yeah, a tiny bit more now and then go to bed. I did today though totally add to my 2019 reading goals because I'm trash. I want to start participating in more book clubs and like read-alongs discussions. And there's a new one, the Dragon and Tea book club, which is starting up in January. And then the book in a jar pick, hosted by Book Roast, is something I had on my shelf already. So there are 2 books I'm going to try and read in January to add to my TBR, even though I was trying to keep my TBR to a minimum. If you watched my January TBR and reading goals video. And then if Name of the Book gets back up and running in February or whenever they plan to get back up and running, I'll probably read their book of the month too, but depending on their, because they're fantasy, they're a bit bigger. We'll see. I also started setting up my planner for the next year today. And I'm going to keep going with that tomorrow. I picked up some pastel highlighters, which were like the last thing I needed to make the whole thing click. I'll probably pick up more washi tape during the year. And maybe more stickers. But the key components are all in place. So I'm very happy. So it's Wednesday night. I'm just on my way. I'm about to head home from work. I'm going to go by a friend's house. They're just moving into their new house and I'm going to have a look at it because I love looking at new houses. I wanted to update you because I've started another audiobook, not to fulfill any challenges, but just because I've always got to have an audiobook on the go. And that's Sea Witch by Sarah Henning. This is a Little Mermaid retelling, like an Ursula origin story, and I'm really excited about it. I don't think it's going to be anything fantastic by any means, but as long as it's a fun time, that's all I care about. I'm like just under halfway through and I'm enjoying it so far. It's just kind of cheesy but fun, and I'm really enjoying it, and I'm hoping the ending's really dark and twisty, even if it is a little predictable. I'm still only like 50 pages into The Boneless Mercies, but obviously I've basically been at work since I was talking to you last. I'm going to try and read quite a bit of it tonight. The only other thing I really want to do when I get home is do a yoga practice at home, because none of the classes scheduled this week really suit me. I could have gone to a workout class tonight, but I'm really not feeling it. I'd rather just do some stretching and yoga. So I'm going to try and make myself do a home yoga practice and then hang out with my bae, because he's been away, but he's back tonight. So I've got to pick him up from the bus depot at some point. But that's my plan. I'm so excited. I'm I want to read lots too. Just saying, if one of your main characters is called Juniper, maybe think of a different way to describe things other than similes to juniper berries. Because, like, you're using the word juniper too many times. Okay, so I'm enjoying this, but in a vague way. And I think in the past, like, 2 chapters, I figured out my problem with it. So I don't mind the characters. I think they're a little underdeveloped, but they're fine. I like the setting, it's interesting. I like the premise, it's interesting. But I figured out the thing that's bothering me the most about this is that the plot has no drive and motivation. Like, so essentially we follow this band of girls who mercy kill people, so like assisted suicide basically, for money. And that was already established at the beginning of the book, so this isn't them like becoming those or anything. They're established that, and then basically the plot is that they decide not to be that anymore. There's no real driving reason why. And there was a bit of an argument between them about what they were going to do. And so then they decide to go slay this beast. But we haven't got to the beast. We're currently just on the journey. So it's a bit of a traveling journey kind of book. But my main problem was she chose, the main girl whose perspective we're following, chooses to go slay this beast just because she feels like it. And she has a greater purpose in life. Like, I think it takes a lot of the poignancy out of the idea of the mercy killings because these girls went into it as their profession. They apprenticed in it and then went, not for me. Whereas that could have been a really poignant story on its own. And then they all just wanted out. Yeah. It's a bit... And the others are just following her because she decided she wanted to go slay this beast. All the others were like, oh, no, not the beast. But they go along with it. It's a bit... And yeah, every move they make, they do something just cause. Like, there's no driving force behind everything. So it makes the plot kind of laggy. Like, at least, like, Lord of the Rings, the most laggy book you can imagine, at least has some kind of drive as to why Frodo is walking forever. Like, at least he's trying to get the ring to Mordor, to throw it in the pits of Mount Doom, to destroy it. Like, there's a driving thing that's necessary. None of this seems necessary. Like, it's just them not wanting to be Roland's Mercies anymore. And there's no real reason explained as to why they don't want to be Roland's Mercies anymore, other than that it's not fulfilling for them. Like, sure, live your dreams, love, but that's not a good, strong premise for, like, not a strong plot for a book. I don't know. It's very, yeah, like, I'm halfway through, almost, and basically nothing has happened. They've done a bit of walking. That's about it. And, yeah, there's no tension, no drive to get anywhere. Yeah, that's my biggest thing so far. I'm going to see this through because obviously it's a readathon read and I'm not good at DNFing things, plus it's short. So I'm going to see it through, but that's currently my biggest problem with this. The atmosphere and the premise are really cool, but your plot actually has to have something driving it forward. Hey, so it is Friday morning, the last day of work before the Christmas break. I'm doing a late start today because I need to be there till kind of late. So I'm delaying my start, and there's not much to do at the office today because no one wants to start anything new. So I don't want to just be sitting there bored out of my brain for most of the day, and I do have to stick around till late. Yesterday, Wednesday night there was not much left to do before Christmas, so I kind of like split my days into like two main tasks. That's all that's left. I don't want to start anything new. And I did one of them yesterday and then went home because I didn't have to be there in the afternoon. And today I'm going to go in late, do that last one, and then I have like a thing that I have to be there till 4.
or like 4:30. So I'll stick around for that. So I'm going in late. So I'm currently reading Boneless Mercies still. I am now, because it has been a little while since I updated you, now like 2/3 of the way through. I think I'm like 70%. And I still think the biggest flaw in this book is that there's no driver for the plot. Like, there's no big tension in the plot. Which I talked about before, but it's just like keeps on happening. Like, things happen. It's not like this plot has nothing happening. They've just killed some major stuff and they're going off to kill other major stuff, but there's nothing. There's no tension in forcing everyone's decisions. Like, there should be something like that there should be some kind of motivation behind everything rather than just, I feel like I know in real life doesn't have these strong motivators in most instances for you to make decisions. Often you're just making decisions on kind of what you feel like. But in a book, to have a strong plot, it really needs that, and to keep driving the story forward and wanting to read more. Like, I'm forcing myself to pick this up to get through it. And then I also realised that while all the characters, so this follows like 5 characters, I think 5, in a little band. 4 of them, the 4 that are not the narrator, are kind of fleshed out. They all have a bit of backstory. They're probably underdeveloped, to be honest, but they have some kind of like defining part in the group. The only characteristic the narrator has, other than the fact that she's the narrator, is she's the leader. But she doesn't really have any defining characteristics otherwise. She just is the leader. Why is she the leader? Because she was there first. Whereas the narrator should be chosen specifically to be the person with the most pull for the audience, right? For the reader. Yeah? I don't know. Like, the plot is nice. Like, it's a good plot if there was drive behind it. The actual things that happen are theoretically interesting. And the setting is well described. I really like the setting. I really like the mythology. But if we had that, like, info dumping of mythology and stuff, that is a little bit info dumpy, it is spread out throughout, but it's a bit told, not shown. Or told and shown at the same time, making it a bit redundant. If we had that spread in between some, like, it needs some kind of plot point driving this whole plot forward, rather than just the actions that these people take. It needs some kind of driving factor, and I don't know what you could have made it here, but something other than just, I chose to do it because I could. And even when, like, one of the 5 main characters has a stronger opinion on things than the others, and it's clear why she has that opinion. Like, she really doesn't want to be a death trader, which is kind of like the whole plot, that they're traders in death, the Boneless Mercies, they do mercy killings, and this one character doesn't want to be one. The rest all were kind of ambivalent. They had nothing really against it, but somehow they all were going off to be something else because this one really didn't want to be one anymore. But also there were times when there were other options that one would have preferred, but she goes with the group decision. Whereas that could have created tension, and there's a kind of romance that could have created tension, and it just didn't. Like, there could have been times where there was higher stakes that just weren't followed through. Like, there was the setup that could have been high stakes. Like, the love interest being separated from the group for necessary reasons could have had high stakes included. Like, there could have been something that happened to him on the way and they found out about it and then their stakes were changed. But that wasn't the case? I don't know. It's weird. This is definitely just a, like, 2.5 star read so far for me. Unless this last, like, 30% changes my mind. Minor spoilers, but, like, even the big battle scene wasn't anyone's intelligence or tricksterness or, like, smart fighting. It was literally a prophecy and they're literally following it.
Okay, so I just finished The Boneless Mercies. Yeah, it's like a 2.5, 2.75 read for me. I was really concerned there were a couple of plot threads that really could have meant a lot and then didn't get mentioned again till like the epilogue and then just kind of got brushed over, which would have definitely made it a 2.5, but they did get kind of mentioned in the epilogue, so I wasn't completely left hanging. 2.75. I just think this was like a first bare bones draft and that it was missing that like driver of the plot. So yeah, everything could have been developed so much more. And especially when this author isn't a debut author, that kind of confuses me, but whatever. My next read is another one that I am on the fence about what I will rate it, because some people love it and some people hate it. The reason people hate it is something that I don't necessarily hate, so I might really like it. And that's The Hazelwood by Melissa Albert. This is to complete the one that the challenge that focuses on family. The other one was for friendships. So we'll see. Again, it's pretty short. It's about the same length as the other one. Only like 350 pages. Hopefully this doesn't lag as much as the other one did. The other one I really had to force myself to read The Boneless Mercies because it didn't have that driving plot. I really had to be like, okay, gotta read my book now, because nothing was like inspiring me to pick it up. But hopefully this will have more of that push stuff. So even if I don't like I think the thing most people don't like about this is that the main character isn't very likable. So, and it wasn't what people expected from it, like from the plot. But knowing that going into it, I might really like it. So we'll see. So I am currently at Mum's. I didn't update yesterday because we were driving, and I didn't do any reading yesterday. It is now Sunday, and the readathon ends Wednesday. It's the final day of the readathon, and I have one more challenge to complete, which is to read a book with family focus. So I'm reading The Hazelwood. I'm like 50 pages in. Hopefully I can get it done in time. I just bring some other books with me if I get to them. I also probably won't be vlogging all that much, but we'll see how we go. We'll see. We'll see. I've got copyrighted music in the background, so let's make this update quick. It is Christmas Eve. Jessie is taking a nap out on the swing outside, and I'm watching YouTube and watching BookTube and reading The Hazelwood. It's a bit of our afternoon break before we have to cook dinner and prep stuff for tomorrow and watch carols and things. I'm only like 80 pages in, but I'm going to do my best to read a good chunk of this today. There's only tomorrow and the next day, and then the readathon's over, and I know I probably won't get much time to read tomorrow. So it is, what time is it? Like 3 o'clock Christmas Day. We're going to be going to my grandparents this afternoon. Jessie's gonna make faces in the vlog. I am definitely not gonna finish this by the end of the readathon.
But I am. Socks. It says my cat is cool as fuck.
But I am 143 pages into The Hazelwood. Hopefully I can finish it by the end of the month. Hopefully. Anyway, I think the rest of this vlog is gonna be mostly uneventful because it's gonna finish tomorrow, and it's just, yeah, I'm not gonna be reading much, and I'm probably not gonna be doing much that I will vlog. So, oh well. like 10 p.m. about to go to bed. We've had a fun day playing board games, but I definitely didn't finish this. I'm like just over halfway. Yeah. I'm hoping to finish this by the end of the month. But anyway, I'm going to wrap up this vlog. I know it hasn't been interesting the past couple of days, but I did finish, four of the 5 challenges. And I didn't watch Harry Potter movie, but I kind of wasn't planning on it anyway. So that was my readathon wrap up. It's a bit dumb, bit lame, but thanks for hanging out with me. The vlog's been pretty boring. I'm drinking Basita and then I'm gonna go to bed. So good night, my friends.